Today's video goes out to the guys who almost joined, or maybe more appropriately, I want you to learn a lesson from the people who almost joined. Throughout my whole adult life, being someone who was in the military and served overseas, it's inevitable that if I'm in a group setting or when people find out about my background, I'll have somebody in the crowd that I'll have to say, I almost joined, but. When someone says that to me, what they're doing is they're telling me that they've had to live with regret ever since they've made that decision that they almost did something. What spurred this on today was I've got an injury on my arm. I'm going to need surgery, probably sooner rather than later. Not a big deal. I have a bone spur that's going to need to be removed from my elbow. So right now it's incredibly painful. A couple weeks ago I had to give up on most of my lifting, and I just sequestered myself to the garage. I got a rowing machine out there. I would go out there and row. Then I went to the doctor and was able to see the x-rays, realized I have a bone spur. So I decided to not do anything using my arms. So now I go into the gym and I get on the Stairmaster and I walk hundreds of flights of stairs. That's the only that's the only type of workout I get, aside from my normal like walking and doing stuff that I do with my wife and kids and all that kind of stuff. So I went from lifting really hard and really heavy 5 days a week to rowing, at least getting some cardio in, to now I just walk stairs, which is still pretty hard. Every day that I go in and walk the stairs, I add a couple more minutes. The first time I walked, I did 100 flights of stairs. Then the next time I went 114 flights of stairs. Today I did 130 flights of stairs. I'm going to work up to where I'm doing 200 flights of stairs pretty soon. The key to my success, if you can say that I've had any success in life, has been that I don't almost do things, and I never have, and I don't quit. When I was 17 years old, I enlisted in the United States Army. I remember sitting in the recruiter's office. He's going through the list of questions. One of the questions is, do you have asthma or have you ever had asthma? And my response was, well, I had asthma as a kid, but I don't have that problem anymore. The recruiter closes up the book, sets it down in front of him, and he says, hey, I should have told you this before, but there's a handful of questions in here that are knockout questions, meaning if you answer yes to this question, the military won't take you. The question on whether or not you have asthma is one of those questions. He goes, I'm sorry, I don't remember what you said, what your response was to that question. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee and I'll be back in a minute. I was in the recruiter's office with my parents because I was 17 years old. I needed my parents to sign off on it. When the recruiter came back, much to my mother's dismay, he asked me that same question again. I said, no, I did not have asthma, because I did not want to be one of those people who almost joined the Army. And then later on in life, I'd gone through the Army, I'd gone overseas multiple times with different organizations, had a couple of jobs as a civilian, took the test and applied to be a police officer. I was about 30 years old. I think I was 30 years old when the academy started. I had to do at least one of the physical tests again, because when I had gotten out of the military, I allowed myself to get out of shape. So I had to go back and retake a VO2 max test, which is where they put you on a treadmill. Every 2 or 3 minutes, the treadmill gets steeper and it starts to go faster. You have to go with a tube in your mouth, and they plug your nose, and they're measuring the amount of oxygen that you consume. It's one of the most difficult tests that you'll ever do if you've ever had to do one. The first time I did it, I thought that with my age, I had gone far enough. They don't tell you if you've passed until you get home, you get something in the mail. So I went to a point where I thought I passed, and I had not passed. I got my letter saying that I failed. I had to wait 90 days to take the test again. I go in and I'm telling the people administering the test, yeah, they asked if I've ever done this before. I said, yeah, I did. I had to wait 90 days to come back and do it again. I remember them looking at me and they said, oh, if you failed this 90 days ago, the body doesn't have the ability to adapt to the level that you need within 90 days, so it's not likely that you're going to pass again. Well, I did pass because I do not quit and I do not take failure as an option, and I didn't want to be one of those people who said I almost became a police officer. Then when I got accepted into the academy, or I was told that I was hired and I was going to be going to the academy, I got a call from the guy who did my background check and who kind of walked me through the process. And I remember him saying, hey, I had to really talk you up because they wanted to hold you to the next class. And I said, no, this guy is former military. He's good to go. Get him in. And his words to me, and this was Dave, I'm going to send this to you, Dave. His words to me were, don't fucking quit. I got to the academy, a little bit out of shape, a little bit overweight. I had not run that much in years. I think we ran 4 miles in the first day of the academy. We ran multiple 4-mile runs throughout the week, all the time through the academy. At my weight and my level of conditioning, it was not an easy thing for me to do. And at my age, I had to, on the way home from the academy every single night, I would stop at the gas station, buy 2 bags of ice. I'd go home and set 2 buckets on the couch in front of me, fill them with ice and water, and soak my legs in them so I wouldn't get shin splints so I could continue to go to the academy, because I wasn't going to quit. And I wasn't going to be one of those people who almost did something. A couple years after that, I was coming home from work one night. I'll tell you the rest of the story some other time. But I was confronted by a person in my yard who had basically just told me he came out of my house. This gentleman was about 8 years younger than me, about 5 inches taller than me, and about 50 pounds heavier than me. Let's just say that I arrested him. At one point during our physical altercation, I didn't know if I was going to be physically able to place him under arrest. But I had already called for help. They were on the way. And when they showed up, I didn't want to have to tell them that I almost got him, because I'm not a quitter. People who are successful in life are not the people who almost do things and not the people who quit. Learn a lesson from those people who will say, I almost did this or I almost did that. When they say that, what they're admitting to you is that they've been living with regret ever since they made that decision. Don't be one of those people. And those are my thoughts for today. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.